First, we're going to stand for the pledge of allegiance. Would one of the students like to lead us? Oh, there's one back there. Say yes. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very nice. Do we have any added agenda items?
Can I just put under, probably under all business, just an update on the evaluation process? No, in terms of, it would be that, ethics evaluation, we're searching for a facilitator. I was just kind of wondering where we were with that in the date.
Um,
That would be, it could be under all business. We don't need to talk about it.
Not where it's like.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I haven't followed up by.
So that's motion. So she made a motion, so I'll make a second, I'll second it. If you have nothing to talk about, then
We can just say that at the time. Okay.
Yeah. Makes a motion.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll add that under,
Just add the agenda item. Under old business, just that it's
Under all business, probably, because we.
Yes, it's my evaluation, it would have to be executive session.
That's it. No, we'll talk about the subject.
No, 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 no.
Process.
Just an update on what, we're not doing that right now, but just an update on the date, the facilitator, all that kind of stuff.
okay, all right, and then the minutes, are there any? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes and then we can discuss if there's any,
I'll make a motion to approve the August 24th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. I'll second that.
all right, so Courtney made the motion and Denise seconded. Are there any amendments to the minutes?
I have one, or I think a question about it anyway. If we go to the list of the upcoming meetings and events, number 3. I don't believe it's a Board of Ed pension subcommittee meeting, it's the town's pension meeting. Okay. Thought of that for just popped in.
Were there any other edits or clarifications to the minutes?
Now that you clarify that, Fran, it made me think, I had asked, Doreen to maybe just get a correction that the finance committee subcommittee is not board of finance subcommittee, which could be confusing. Some people think it's a board of finance meeting. It's really a BOE's finance subcommittee meeting.
Thank you. Any other clarification? All right, so we have a motion on the floor. All in favor of approving the minutes as amended? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so Heather's going to abstain. Okay, do we have any public participation at this time? And our student representative is actually not able to be here. Sorry, I was like, wait, there's a person was not able to join us this evening because he has a track meet. So that report is included in the board packet, but we're going to move along to our curriculum report. Yay.
Right, so I want to just thank obviously all the parents for coming in. A couple of times a year, what we try to do is display programs or that are in each of the buildings. So at the high school, we'll have teachers and students come in and display their work and show some of the hard work that they've been doing. And at the middle school this year, we've asked Miss Donahue to come in and brought up and display some of the work that she's been doing with her students in her STEM program at the elementary school. So I know we're very excited. I know we're all here for that. So I'll welcome you to come on up and we'll display the presentation for you.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, thank you all for hiring me. So it's years and a half ago for this STEM program. It's been great getting to know the students and really getting this program up and going. So last fall, you go to the next screen if you want. So they're called Spiro Indies, and there's many that I could have chosen. This one is a screenless one that was a good start for especially the younger students, but also a lot of fun for the older students. So on the next screen, you'll see where I got the money from because I do get a very nice budget. Thank you for that. However, some of the more expensive items are a little bit more difficult to get. So over the years, there's been this East Windsor Greater Together Community Fund at the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. So last August, September, I put in an application for it, submitted it, and then in November, the committee granted me the money. So I would purchase 16 of the Spiro Indie coding robots. Thank you to the East Windsor Committee. Over the years, I know the district has been working on the portrait of the graduate, and that's just basically what are the skills that students are going to need to be successful either in college or in their career, and just in life in general, being lifelong learners. And there's a million different skills I can go over that these coding robots help support: problem solving, logical thinking, creativity, adaptability, resilience, working together, cooperation, collaboration. So the list is kind of endless. So if you haven't seen the portrait of a graduate, definitely look at it. You'll see all the ways that these coding robots can be incorporated. All right. So getting to know Indy, again, it is a screenless, a little car. You'll see them in a few minutes. It's all driven by color. So students are able to manipulate the way they go, depending on a challenge that they might get. You can easily integrate so many different things, including math and literacy. So on the next screen, you'll see the different ways you could incorporate it. And I'm just going to give you a couple of quick examples. I mean, math, coding, I mean, everything is based on coding in our technology-driven world. And just basic math facts. If I were to say, hey, code a robot to go to the correct fact family, like 2 + 3 = 5. That was correct, right? Yeah. Okay. So they could just easily code that. In literacy, even at the youngest level of kindergarten, if they were reading a story in class, they could retell the story in order. Let's just say the 3 Little Pigs. That's something that everyone knows. They would, start with the characters, then find the setting and try to code it so it goes in the proper order to retell the story. So those are just a few examples of different ways that these coding robots can help within in the STEM classroom. Just a couple examples of the math, decomposition, subtraction, algorithmic thinking. And the math ones, even shapes, geometry, if they want to make like a certain shape. Older kids, area, perimeter, make a code that, has an area of 25 or a perimeter of 30. So just a million different ways I can incorporate that into what they're learning in the classrooms already to support the classroom teachers. All right, and then going back to that portrait of a graduate, coding is just going to be, it is a part of our world. I mean, everything that we do and touch, computers, movies, cell phones, everything is based on coding. So this is a nice way to start them young and really be an active learner when it comes to coding. So a lot of patience, a lot of collaboration, things like that. So I have, I believe, 9 or 10 kids up here who are going to help me present these to the Board of Ed. So you guys are going to have a few minutes to kind of explore with them. And the 1st and 2nd graders will kind of help you along. Yeah, you guys get to play. And then after like a couple minutes, they're going to kind of show you what they've been doing in class, and you can feel free to ask them questions about it, how it's helped them in the classroom, if they love it, just different things that they might be doing in the classroom. We have Caroline, Abigail, Madison, Theodore, Sophie, Bryn, Emily, Wyatt, and Tyler. So first and second grade next year. Yep. So you guys want to come on up? We have 6 of them here, so just kind of give a few. You kind of pass them out to the ladies at the end. Okay. There we go. Yep. 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 Got it? Yep. Thanks. All right, you guys can open them up. To check them out. Yeah. All right, so you guys can kind of go around and do the features, okay, and help them out.
That'd be easier.
Throw in the front. Yeah.
So what's your next step?
What happened? You guys go over here. Come on over here.
Like this one.
Okay.
So. My name is.
Spins it around.
Do a pattern. Stop like that.
Red stops it.
Oh, you're quick.
Back as a teacher.
Next, you want to finish up? Before it stopped.
Yeah. Nice. We've met a couple times. So it's my younger, my first years. One brought down. That takes 4
I do what I'm
No, that's.
Sorry about the surprise, little test you guys had to do today. Throw that out there for you. Am I allowed to like change it? Okay, there we go.
Does it work? I don't think it will. You can
Okay,
try.
for the exploration part, so. Keep going. And these are just a few pictures of the students working in the classroom. There are challenge cards that come with each kit too. There's also ways for the kids to create their own path. And then the students have to kind of figure out how to code it. So if they just make like lines, and then the kids will have to figure out what the code is from their partners. So they've got a couple of things like that. There might be one more page of.
Keep going.
Yeah, and they love it. But that's
Silent. If you want me to keep
that
going.
is going. Yep, there might be one. And I just learned a few weeks ago that there are extensions where I can make it a little bit more. With the screen, they can change what each color does. They can add different sound effects. So maybe like next year, now that they're getting really good at these, we can do a little bit more of the extensions on these. But that's it. Thank you for.
This is absolutely the most fun I've ever had at a board of meeting.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate it. We do have the rest of our meeting, but we understand it is a school night, so you're welcome to take a snack, and you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we do appreciate you coming. Thank All right. That was very cool. Thank you, for helping me facilitate. All right, so next on our agenda, we have new business for a vote. We do have, two motions that Heather's gonna start for our healthy food certification. These have to be read, specifically into our, records, so.
Okay. Healthy food certification, section 10-21, F of the Connecticut General Statutes. Motion 1. The East Windsor Board of Education pursuant to Connecticut General Statute, section 10-15F, certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutritional standards published by the State of Connecticut Department of Education during the periods of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. This certificate shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from the reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines and school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
All right, do I have a second on the motion?
Read it again.
I just have a question about like the food offered on school premises, even by non-school, like PTOs selling food.
I'll second it first. I'll second it, and then we can discuss.
Okay.
All right, so Denise seconded it, guys.
Second, now you part of this part. So
Or the first part.
Okay.
Well, the second part goes on to talk about foods that do not meet the Connecticut. Okay.
All right, so first we need to vote on that motion. And then just for background, this is the same thing we do every year. It's it's an annual, we have to approve this under state statute, but it is similar each year. And I know Fran has brought up, similar questions in the past, but it's, so you, free to answer questions, but it is, or ask questions, but it is kind of a boilerplate.
But we
type
follow
thing.
it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's not just that now, let's just make the motion.
No, right, that we do
It
follow.
kind of is what it is, but I mean, we can ask questions about.
Yeah. But there's gonna be a second motion that kind of talks to maybe what you're asking about. So, okay, so on the, there you go. So all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, and now the second motion involved.
Motion 2. The East Windsor Board of Education will allow the sale of students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutritional standards and beverages not listed in section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in conjunction with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsal, debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is a period from midnight before the 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. To the 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales.
May I have a second?
Who was the second?
Carrie can be the second, that's fine. And then any discussion on that one? Does that clear up your questions kind of in terms of, so it can be at, dances or different events, we can tell them.
Or am I missing it? Did we get that? We didn't get a copy of that, did we? I can't find it. in-
No, it wasn't in the
No,
packet.
those were just the motions that
That
was.
was still see them, so we
Sure.
can ask those questions.
Okay, yeah, I can,
Going forward, not, that's one. If there's something that there's gonna be a motion we have to vote on, we can be able to read it ahead of time.
Mhm. All right, all in favor of the second motion regarding this healthy food certification? Any, sorry, any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Do you want that one back to add to the minutes, or do you have it?
no, I have it and I can, email it after. So that everyone has the other.
Okay, that's fine. All right. All right, and then the second, under new business for a vote is regarding the policy for, food service, and this is in the packet. The curriculum.
Yeah, just to provide some context, behind the need to do this. So I know we're doing all our policies. I can tell you there's not a policy, from Shipman Goodwin, that has this. This is a revision of our current policy. These policy revisions, they go through BPR. They were recommended by a food service, director, Christine Wallace. And they're needed, as part of the RFP, that's out there. So it's the RFP requirement, that we discovered through that process.
Who decides like, and I just have a question, like, for example, there's like the walking taco or something like that, with a bag of Doritos with ground meat that they put in there and it's like served as a lunch. Like, who decides in the state of Connecticut that that is deemed like nutritious? I mean, I know it's not like our choice, but like it obviously meets the standard.
Yeah, I can tell you, like at the state level, there are a number of consultants and I can, in my own experience reaching out, like every time you call, you get a different one. To their credit, they always get back to you in a timely manner. But there's a number of regulations, and like, I'm not going to pretend to say, like, I know, like how it's driven or how it's prioritized, but I can tell you it's heavily, like, I can contest that it's heavily regulated. Like, even if you buy something outside of the US because, you can't find it, like, there's a process that you have to fill out for justification forms. You have to submit the nutritional, like labels.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning it and, it's, pretty intensive and, laborsome. I know it doesn't really answer your question. All I can do is contest that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying that a walking taco is like a bag of Doritos with.
Correct. It's
It's
like taco meat that's dumped into the bag and it's like that's.
And maybe
lunch.
some cheese.
Yeah. Some cheese.
What's that?
And that's full, it's full.
That's a lunch.
That's lunch.
So, but I know it has to like, it's, I mean, again, these are approved by like the state of Connecticut, you know what I mean, as being.
Yeah.
So my question really is not like what, but like who does, how does that work? And it is way bigger than our scope of things here, so we can, I'll do my own little research on this.
Thanks for the example.
It's the best one I have.
Taste it.
Yeah, they like blood medicine.
It's probably not the worst. That's probably not the least, that's probably not the least healthy thing to do.
And be clean.
To clarify about some of that, like alternate meals or delinquent debt, is this for potentially after we no longer have all free and reduced, that may come into play again? Because
Well, our current policy wasn't in line with what we currently do in food service either. So it was based on our old policy when prices were either reduced if you qualified for reduced lunch, or if you didn't qualify at all, you're paying whatever the price was recommended by the state versus if you qualified for free. But under our current plan with the state, everyone receives free lunch. So it had to be updated for that purpose as well too.
Is that a long-term thing that they, or?
It's based on 3-year agreements. I mean, it's also based on your needs. So it's not like, any school district would love to provide free lunches to all their students. Not every school district qualifies to.
That's the other thing I'm trying to clarify. So just, again, I'm just looking for page numbers.
So,
Um,
at page 15, I have at 16, I have a question. I had a question before. It's number 10.
That's current policy.
Sorry, what page? Betsy?
Page 15. Number 10.
All right, so this is what I'm trying to figure out. Sorry, not to, but I think this is part of what's considered the current policy, because that's saying that was
Oh,
approved.
This is the old one, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's-
correct.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
So that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yes.
So on page 16 is where the new
Correct.
policy starts.
Yeah, so
And
one
it doesn't have all of those like 1 through
Correct.
10.
Yeah, so one of the things that
That's-
this board had asked was when we present policy, showing the old policy versus the new policy. Following that, you have the old policy, which is up front, and then the recommended changes are the ones behind starting on page 16.
So some of those things are changing. That's why I wanted to
Correct.
bring
So-
that to your attention.
So the
That's-
regulations are optional. It didn't make sense for us to adopt or bring the regulations forward. So you'll see, in the revised policy, there are no regulations. It's just the policy itself.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Patrick, if a kid is still hungry, can you go get a second?
I believe by paying, so it wouldn't be free, but they would have to pay, it's my understanding.
Okay.
Okay, so for clarification, the new policy starts on page 16. Do that. So under new business for vote, were you hoping we would waive the first reading because we need this for the RFP?
Correct.
So I would need a motion to waive the first reading, and then we can decide if the board is agreeable upon that. And then we would need a motion to update the policy. All right, so Denise makes the motion to waive the first reading, and it's seconded by me, Fran. All in favor of waiving the first reading?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that motion passes. All right, and then I would entertain a motion to update policy number 3542.
Hey, just a
Sorry.
clarification, isn't this the first reading and we're waiving the second reading?
No, you usually do, first reading and then you, under normal process, and then on the second reading, you vote to approve. So what I'm requesting is you vote to waive the first reading and then you would go forward and approve it.
Guess it's kind of semantics, because we usually
We
approve
read
it
it once
on the
before,
second
right?
reading.
We all
Did
read
we
it.
read it once before?
No,
We did in BPR, but not
BPR
through
did,
the
but the
whole
full board has not. So anyone that was part of board policy review has seen it. But anyone outside of board policy review, has not.
That's how we do it.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated policy 3542-43 or .43.
Second.
All right, so we have Fran making the motion and Courtney second the motion. Any further discussion or questions now on the new policy?
Do food policies always go in the student level? I don't think I've ever read it. Nothing, yeah, nothing that doesn't go there, just.
I think it has gone in the student handbook.
I'm not sure. I'd have to research honestly.
Well, it will be now.
Next week.
If we approve this, it will be.
Yeah, that's what it says.
I would honestly, I would guess not because it wasn't up to date. I mean,
Yeah.
But going forward, it will be up to date.
So. Like for the coming school year, would it go into the?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep. So, August.
All right, are there any other questions? This says.
We would update that. That
So
was
that
just.
would be
yep,
updated.
Correct.
Okay.
Can I ask, I do have a question. Who is the one who contacts the parents if they need to Who's responsible for that?
To contact the parents
If there's an issue. Oh, goodness.
typically, it would be Nancy.
Okay, I just wondered.
Oh, so I guess Gabby is coming and we weren't answering.
We just got back. No, it's fine. Literally just got back.
So we just need to know that Gabby did get here at 7:35. And we're discussing the food service policy and we don't have your name right now, but that's okay because no one from the public is here, right? So it's all right.
Next to her, I think, is an extra check.
Thank you.
So I believe it has been the person in charge of the food program in the past who could contact parents. Was it Betsy's question that was still on?
Just in terms of, you know, that notification and that process.
As someone who has once gotten that call, I believe it was.
So it's simply Nancy. I will say that Nancy feels like she needs support or she feels like it's a complicated situation, she'll bring it forward to the building administrator.
Okay. All right.
Certainly Ryan could be a resource, but usually it's more about the relationships, the people that have the relationships with the parents.
Be just a, you
Yeah,
know,
the
on
building.
who's,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, and Heather was just bringing up that there is like I'm not sure if it says it right here, but there's like an online thing where you can add money to it. So sometimes you just get an email that your account is low or that
That's taken care of.
and then it's taken care of right away. It only kind of rises to the other occasion if it's,
If you get to like $10, you can choose to have it on.
yeah. So it's, you know, if it's been noticed a number of times that,
Yeah.
you know, then it would rise to that level. All right. Were there any other questions? All right. I believe a motion is on the floor. So all in favor of updating the food service policy?
Aye.
Any opposed? Are you good with it? Sorry, I just wanted to.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so all in favor? Okay. All right. Are you good? Next, under old business, we have the high school track.
Yeah, this is just a brief update. We still have one quote. We're anticipating having 2 additional quotes for a total of 3 quotes by the end of the week. Myself, Brian, Justin have been working with town officials to identify potential funding sources. And we'll hopefully have an update to this board by our next board meeting. So hopefully I'll have, I anticipate I will have the 3 quotes to share with the board and then further conversations with town officials.
And it's kind of, that has, I know different parts of this have been discussed in finance and facilities subcommittee. So I didn't know if anybody had any further questions or if we're kind of caught up on that.
I have a question. So the base and the alternate track surfacing, so there's, you know, quite a bit of difference there. Can anybody explain? Is it larger track?
It is. So, so I can tell you, on the initial one, it's basically the second focus for 8 lanes. I can tell you based on research discussion, we're looking at just replacement of what we have, 6 lanes. Just to provide some further context, Dean's surveyed surrounding NCCC schools and everyone that got back to them, including Summers who just replaced their track last year, all have 6-lane tracks. So it doesn't really make sense. We talked about the facility subcommittee too. Really, I mean, the only reason you would go to 8 lanes is the potential to host. There's not really a true financial incentive for hosting. And then there's even questions raised whether like our parking lots could even accommodate the number of people that would attend that regardless. So certainly it can make meets go a lot quicker, but it's not something that anyone else is doing either.
Okay. Thank you.
And also for clarification, and if you just said this, I'm sorry, but this is the quote for the track, but there would be additional money, like we would have to set aside additional money for tree removal and root removal.
Yeah, it's
So
about
this isn't the
100,000
full.
at a time. So the total cost is about 500,000. We taking account contingency and tree removal. And, some, probably anticipate fence repair where the trees would have to be removed.
All right, were there any other questions regarding track?
Did they do any, I know this is just a quote, do they do any type of timeline on like, how long it takes?
It really depends on when we identify the funding source. So if we were fortunate to identify it in early June, they could get it done, before school starts.
We could have it in the fall. If
Right.
it's not like early June, we still have time to have it done.
But yeah, the weather would be permitted where they could still do the fall. There'd be some, there would be some challenges with soccer and the use of that field for games and stuff. So, that would present some different challenges.
But at the facilities committee, you said there was consideration to possibly use the soccer fields at the Scout Hall, right?
Correct. And we have not made that request, but that one, we would enter in those discussions and see if that was an option. Yes. Yep.
Probably not a like, but do we have an estimate of how often we're gonna need to do maintenance on the track moving forward?
I haven't had any conversation regarding that.
This was done in like the 90s, correct? Is that when that track was done?
It was done before I've been here, and I've been here since 2003. So that, I mean, that
That is what I heard from.
We're reconfiguring one more.
Oh, like,
Hang on, we'll be done. Your podcast.
Hear that? All right, so Noreen came at 7:42, 7:41. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. No, you're fine. Okay. Any further, sorry, one more time, and we're going. Any further questions on the high school track, or are we good for this?
So I don't know what, so we're discussing so I'm wondering about timeline and about, about budget.
So we're waiting for a few
So
more.
once the quote, so this is just still discussion, and then when the quotes come in, we'll take. it.
Yeah.
We're waiting for further quotes.
Okay, Betsy had asked for an old business, under old business, for a discussion of just the process and potential date for the superintendent review. This needs to be very general because
Yeah.
usually this would be discussed in terms of executive session. I believe we did discuss a potential date, because we did not want to do it on the same night as the Board of Ed meeting was what we discussed, but I don't remember if we picked. Yeah, we did. A June, I believe we did pick that at the last meeting. I just don't know if I know
Yeah.
right off the top of my head. Yeah. I can- Or was it in the minutes at all in terms of?
Is an executive?
I guess not. Yeah, let me just look at my phone and see if I can.
I thought it was the June 26th. I thought,
Okay.
But I don't hold.
I have the 22nd as a special meeting.
I was thinking it's a Saturday.
Oh, wait a minute, that's.
Probably.
The 26th, we have a meeting. I thought we talked about like either the Thursday, the next night, like the 27th, or we talked about a
We
week. where we
have
did
it
that.
on Thursday, the 13th.
Hey, Wednesday's
6
one.
o'clock.
right, Courtney's right.
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, and then it was if it needed further, it would go, because it was 2 days to wrap it up on.
Two days.
So Fran and Courtney. Yeah, so June 13th
6.
at 6 PM.
Is a special meeting, just an executive session, correct?
Yes. Just to discuss the superintendent review. And then if we need a second night after it's been written up, then on the second night, we would just review it again and then make any final changes or approve it at that time.
Yeah, my understanding was that would just be part of the ad executive session for the 26th BOE meeting that you already had scheduled.
Yeah, so that would be after a regular meeting,
That's,
either after or before, depending on when we want to do the executive session. So those are the dates. As far as the process, we are still kind of reaching out to a couple of people in terms of that. So we don't really have an update on that. Okay.
are you making, okay, is that, you know, kind of the thinking of we reaching out?
Yeah, I just haven't, just to be completely honest, I haven't had time to follow up since our last conversation. So, Kay been reaching out to, an outside person that we identified.
Oh, right, you said there's something, yeah, the other, the lawyer, figure out the attorney, right? Okay.
Thank you. All right. And that is update on that. Thank you very much. All right. Do we have any liaison reports this evening?
So I don't have liaison, but I have subcommittee. Could we change that agenda item to say liaison and subcommittee reports?
What the liaison is the person.
No, liaisons are people that go to, like, you go to the Board of Finance or the,
I guess, because we talked about them being whoever was the person from each committee. It's just the wording.
I don't know, it's just thought, seems a little more.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we can change it to, if you want to say both liaison and subcommittee.
It's like somebody from the board goes to the
Updates.
Board of Finance meeting and they report on that.
Yeah, that's fine. And I know sometimes like the finance subcommittee reports not on the same night that we've met, but on the opposite week. And sometimes that might, you know,
Right, so it could be-
BPR might
yeah.
do it that way too. So it might not be from every one of them, but it might be from different ones depending on the cadence. But for it to say liaison and subcommittee, I think is fine. All right,
So
so,
your subcommittee reports, the facilities subcommittee met last week and had pretty lively discussions about a lot of things. The boiler funding, the track, we had some discussion about the track. There was a leadership meeting, a leadership discussion regarding the facilities study that was done on all three schools.
and I believe that's in correspondence, just if you want to mention to that too.
It's in correspondence tonight?
It is.
So I don't pay attention.
Yes, the report that you asked for from Justin is in correspondence tonight
Because I was gonna ask you for.
regarding the,
You were in my mind.
so that is, and there is on page 22, if people want to look at that or if you want to refer to that.
So that was pretty interesting. They had certain preferences, some alternative preferences that they felt were not just what they wished they could get, but actually pretty practical, I thought. So that was interesting. We talked a little about our present capital projects and where the funding is for those. And, as we talked a little about earlier, the boilers, do we want to continue down that path? We talked about the 6 versus 8 lanes for the track. It was a good meeting. I think that's about all I have on that. Any questions?
PTO. They had their special person dance on Friday.
It looked like there were a lot of cars outside.
There were. Fran was boogie the night away with her daughter. Hey, I'm at a dance, I'm gonna dance. So. It's an interesting thing, you know, you have your special person and there's limited special people dancing. The kids kind of dump the special people.
Against each other.
I had to go grab her and make her dance. I actually, at one point, the DJ actually said, okay, everybody go get your special person. So, I went out to get Evelyn and I said, you need to get your special person. And she said, I do, Rogan. Her little friend. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe Rogan could dress next. But it was really nice. They do really good events. It was, a lot of people and everybody's just happy when they're doing.
And they had a really good DJ. One of the teacher's husbands was the actual DJ with the actual DJ music. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was a nice thing.
Good deal.
Great. Any other liaison reports or that's the people?
Just we went to the, Patrick, we're gonna do the pension thing again. What board this time, but we went, Patrick and I went to the pension committee, town pension meeting and talked about, two things. About the way that the town's going to calculate or accrue pension now. I don't know if anybody's interested to add, the interest in, as opposed to just letting the interest offset what we would owe, so that we would accumulate as a town a higher number. They're looking to accumulate. It was suggested to accumulate up to 120% of the outstanding expected pension. So we're right now we're about at 85%. So that's still at this, I think in this town, that's a little bit of a question. It's a little bit of an ask, but there was that one. And then why can I think of the other one, Patrick?
I don't know, that was from the actuary. I mean, I will say that was from the actuary as far as, I think everyone took that as like the dream.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. But I mean, she didn't say that like it was being underfunded or anything either. And then by.
As I recall, several years ago, she said 85% was the goal. So now we're there and now it's like 120.
But that being said, adding the interest rather than offsetting what, the BOE in town, pay, will help going forward.
Sounds like a good idea.
And I will say, like, we do have the projections for next, we have the actual cost earlier than we have had in the past because they provided that and will be a savings in our FY25 budget.
Oh, yeah.
So when we go forward, we'll reflect that change when we bring back, once we have a budget through referendum, we'll bring those numbers back at a future meeting.
Will it be
That'll a little
significant
bit
or
of-
is it like $5?
No, I want to say that it was, approximately, wish Ryan was here, but I believe it was about approximately 40,000. So it was a decent amount.
Patrick, what are the implications for what, I mean, you know, union and all the negotiations, does this anything to do with, you know, with contracts? Folks?
No, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, each of our non-certified unions, so it's not our, not your teachers, not your administrators, it's every other union that contributes to the pension plan, but they have deductions depending if they're affiliated or not affiliated, meaning like if they're part of a collective bargaining
Yeah,
unit
yeah.
versus, not being affiliated with any, they have different rates, that like essentially deductions that come out of their check. And then whether you're a town employee or BOE employee, there's a contribution that's also put into the pot, made in addition to their deductions. So there's a cost to the employee and then there's the cost to the town, and the vet as well.
And it's just part of the expectation based on where you are as far as collective, how that pension is.
Yeah, it's a straight percent. There's, that's,
okay.
so it's not based on like the total dollar. It's based on, so it could be like a 2%, a 3%,
Okay.
a 4%.
Okay.
And obviously that dollar differs based on like how much,
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Completely forgot. Last week we had our athletic subcommittee meeting. And
Carrie, you was that chair again by default.
yeah. Well, we did-
Could have done it. I'm sorry. It was like my punishment for not going or something.
We talked about the track. We'll pass that one. Since it's already been talked about, but I think we came to a decision that, we're gonna kind of focus our efforts on a, futsal, which is a skills building program for this school as an after-school activity. And, Melissa Maltese is helping us with getting some prices and Patrick had so that was kind of where we decided to focus the first stuff at. We also talked about, having Dean get some input from coaches and the current gym teachers to see what their thoughts are on what's going on. So he's gonna reach out to them, I think, with, Justin. And then we just had some basic conversation about like our cheerleading program that doesn't exist anymore and like what happened to it, that kind of stuff, so. But we're just kind of plugging along.
And I wanted to let everybody know, and Betsy know, because I know you had asked about it. I did communicate with Kate Mabel about FRC, and she said she's working on finalizing a budget and hoping to get a meeting on the schedule in the next few weeks.
Okay.
So she will reach out and we'll have that for the FRC meeting. But I just wanted to let you know I have another.
Appreciate it.
It just for, it's Kate Mobley, is it? I believe she goes by
Sorry.
Mobley, not Mabel.
I was reading what was in my email, but it,
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's Mobley.
yeah.
It's spelled people.
It's spelled Mabel, and I was just looking, but yes, Mobley. When I tried to search that way, nothing came up, and then I just, yeah, it was the whole thing. Anyway, sorry. Are there any other liaison reports? All right. Moving right along on our agenda this evening. Do we have any public participation in the second half of our public participation?
Yeah, I had asked Noreen because I wasn't sure I was going to make it. You haven't said anything yet about my issue. I went to a softball game, in East Windsor the other day and at the middle school. And when you go around the back by where the, dock area is, there's probably a pothole about this size going in the back. Just want to bring it to everyone's attention because several people have, because it's full with water, hit it and it's a pothole. Just throw that out there, if you're aware of it or not.
Yeah, I do know that there's a number of actually potholes, and I know that Kyle is working with the custodial crew to repair those. So I know there's more than one. I don't know specifically.
There's others that are, I call them more like a divot, but this is like somebody's front end is going.
I'm pretty confident it's on the list because I've been in recent correspondence about getting those repaired.
All right. Next on the agenda is miscellaneous. Do we have any miscellaneous? I feel like we've hit some miscellaneous with other reports, but are there any other?
I'm hearing that you're getting a lot of applications for summer program.
It's closed.
It's close.
It closed in the first week.
Wow, that's successful.
Yep. So, I mean, I don't know if everyone would get their first priority. I mean, Daryl could probably give a better update on that. Well, I know everything's highlighted. No one's dug into it to like prioritize. I mean, it just closed. But that's the next, I don't know, thing to add with that.
No, I mean, I think that's fair. Yeah, we opened it. I don't know what the exact date was. I think it was a Friday, or a Thursday, maybe. Craig had, contacted us on a Monday and said that we could open it
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
So it took us a couple of days
Yeah.
just to make sure we had all the communication in order.
I'm pretty sure it was open 4 o'clock on Tuesday and it was closed on Friday.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did shut it just prior to the weekend because we didn't want to be inundated even more so than that then. So we had rough numbers of somewhere between 80 and 90 for every session. So at this point,
And 60 is the limit.
yes, is the limit. At this point, we're aiming for communication to go out this week, sooner than later. And that will allow people to see what they've secured for the summer. So,
How are you? Excuse me. How are you prioritizing students?
well, 60 obviously is the number.
Right.
But we have to hit numbers within each grade level. So kindergarten first, second. So we have to obviously take a look and see what people wanted. And then we tried to fit everyone where we could.
Yeah, but you're gonna have an overflow anyway. I mean,
Say that again.
there'll be too many, you have more students than slots at this point, you think?
Yeah.
So my question is then, how do you, will it be by
It's first come, first serve within,
All
so
right.
that's what was advertised, first
Yeah,
come,
good.
first serve, so
Right.
we'll know what time, like if someone registered on Tuesday versus someone that
stamped, yeah.
registered, on Friday.
That's good.
Now, if you had 20 slots for a particular grade and you didn't have enough for that, you know, it didn't sort out well and you only had 18, how would you,
We can now.
you don't see that that would be a problem?
Yeah, I just moved.
Yeah, so we have 60 regardless to that.
So they might go to a different one or
Correct,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we put caps, on particular grade levels, depending on whatever the age range was. I mean, there's only so many kids you can have in one class, so.
And you have food with that too, Daryl, right?
So yes,
There's food associated with that too.
Breakfast and lunch. Yeah.
That's a real benefit.
I think they even, didn't you say that, we were even able to reimburse the snack for,
it's not confirmed.
all right, sorry.
Still the big-
My bad.
It's not with a bag, is that what they're doing?
Walking.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, what is the status of band camp in the elementary? School?
My understanding is that's running. That was, the number of, families that, registered and that's going to run.
Good. Because I hadn't heard, I stuck my name in and I was just waiting. And I figured while I'm here, I'm gonna ask the question.
Yeah.
Go,
We can work to get correspondence out to the families.
Okay.
But no, there was a higher interest in that.
I have a real quick miscellaneous. Today, I was in my backyard and there was a child practicing, not great, but some kind of instrument that I said to Dave, listen, we haven't heard that in years. Because the kids on the other side who are all grown now used to do that. And then it was silent and now it's back. So that's
more concerts are coming up.
well,
They're actually, I was completely shocked by the level of competence of the kids that just started band, just started playing instruments, and the concert that they had a few months back. I was shocked by how well. I was fantastic. It really was. It was impressive.
that's awesome.
So,
It actually brought a tear to my eye.
yeah.
We went to see it because I wanted to see it. I actually had a tear in my eye looking at these kids thinking it's back.
Yeah.
It's back.
That's awesome.
So, and they look so cute in their little dresses and they all
Mhm.
marched in so nicely.
It was really, it's superb.
The only other thing I'll say that just made me think in terms of like middle school is we're to get invitations for graduation. And people should, but
Yes, so it should be, coming shortly.
I think I got one for middle school, so you just need to let them know.
I don't think I know. There's an email that said that there was
Yeah.
graduation.
I got one of
I
us.
didn't know it's just-
So if you want to attend, and there'll be one for high school too, but if you want to attend the middle school graduation as a Board of Ed member, just let them know, and then we can make sure we have.
Yeah, they'll section us and so
You
for
want
you.
us to let you know, like, I'm going as a parent, so I'm gonna sit with my family. You need to know
Well,
that.
Probably not, probably more if you're going to, attend as a BOE member because they will actually, like, put a specific area off for you.
So that was like.
Well, I feel like that's.
I believe the school sent the email.
Yeah. I don't think I have.
It was sent to the BOE mailing list.
Okay. I was just trying to.
Just told me it's the best spot to get pictures. So you might as well take it.
Okay. In my email, it came from Sandy Vogel, and it said we are cordially invited to 8th grade promotion ceremony on Monday, June 10th at 6 p.m. So if you could,
And you got one for that was the middle school one. You said that was Andy, and you should have one for high school as well.
I haven't got mine.
That's good, yeah.
Last year, the high school, I got it in the video.
They might have done that.
I don't know. I think they-
So let us, you know, she said, let us know if you think you may attend. So if you're gonna be attending as a board event member, if you could let them know, just so they have, you know, the seats set up, as we said. And we'll look for high school one. I hadn't seen one yet for high school.
Is it going on the outside or?
It's going to be inside. My understanding is working with students they worked with, the parents of the booster. The preference was inside.
Okay, like last year, something
Yep.
at the high school.
Correct.
We, I don't know if I missed it earlier. Do we have confirmed dates for the tours for the going to the schools, Patrick?
We do not yet.
Okay. Any other facilities? All right, in correspondence, we do have something about the Educator Rising Program Notice of Grant Approval, so just congratulations on that. That the grant application was approved for that
Yeah.
program to continue.
So, so we got substantially more and to grow the program into our middle school. So right now, the program, it's in its first year of existence at the high school. The funds are used to essentially recruit students from diverse backgrounds into the teaching profession. However, any student of any background can participate in the program. We are now moving like those leadership opportunities into the middle school for next year. So Cheryl will be working with Linda to get that going as well. There's been some very positives from the program. It's year one. And I think it's a program that will just continue to grow and evolve each year as we go through it.
And the second thing in correspondence that was already mentioned earlier is about the leadership discussion of the CSG facility study. So just kind of the review of the questions that were put out and what the leadership team thought. All right, and then we don't have need for an executive session.
We do not. It was on there in anticipation or hopes that there may be an update, but I have no update. So there is no need for executive session.
There we go. Denise, do you have a motion? Do I have a second? All right, Heather, second. All in favor of adjourning? Any opposed? All right. Since